Hello. You're actually you. I'm actually you, and you're actually me, all the way over here. We can change to be bigger, more than we ever dreamed to achieve our hopes and our dreams. What's right for the heart? Schizophrenia. A disorder that affects a person's ability to think, feel, and behave clearly. What plays in this category? Well, for one, the exact cause of this condition is unknown. It's believed a combination of genetics, environment, and altered brain chemistry and structure may play a role. Mayo Clinic and other sources requires a medical diagnosis. Some more information. It's characterized by thoughts or experiences that seem out of touch with reality, disorganized speech. My schizophrenia isn't disorganized speech so much as it is a disorganized way of writing. So it helps me creatively in a strange way. Or behavior and decreased participation in daily activities. I find that it doesn't affect my daily activities either. I have changed some habits, but that's what happens over time. People change their interest and find something else that they want to do, things like that. So it's pretty ordinary for me, usually. And yes, I have been medically diagnosed with schizophrenia. I do have it. Just not as much as some people do with severity of it. But through my experiences, I think I can shed some light on some of the biases that may be a part of what makes someone prejudiced against those who are discriminatory against those who are mental condition of this disease. It's called schizophrenia. It's delusionment and compulsive, almost. Characterized by thoughts or experiences that seem out of touch with reality, disorganized speech or writing, behavior, and decreased participation in daily activities. Like I've said, that doesn't affect me. Difficulty with concentration and memory may also be present. For me, unfortunately, that happens to be something that I have to work with and I've been seeking medication for, is for my concentration and my memory, because they suffer sometimes, more often in some certain situations than others. Like, of course, your memory is going to be affected if you're not sleeping well or if you're not getting the right nutrients throughout your day. They can affect your concentration as well, but mine, I believe, could possibly be a diagnosis, a symptom of schizophrenia that I have. Treatment for this condition is usually lifelong and will often involve a combination of medication, psychotherapy, and coordinated specialty care services, in which I am in. Mine is through LLS, Lutheran Social Services, and my group home is called SUMMIT, SUMMIT, and it's in Moorhead, Minnesota, through Beltrami County and Clay County, which is something that a lot of people know that they are eligible for. They provide so many people who can help you with your daily life for those who are suffering through the same conditions. And I know you're probably getting support that you need regardless. It's just bringing awareness to what our resources are, our options, the choices we have, what we are through medical diagnosis. Maybe even get rid of some biases. And there are some biases. Like, we're not violent. The behavior is not there. The studies do not show this. to be accurate. It's something that isn't commonly known for people with schizophrenia. Treatment is usually lifelong and often involves a combination of medication, psychotherapy, coordinated specialty care services, like I said earlier, just as a reminder that there are different ways to treat people with schizophrenia, and my group home really helps with me find therapy and the doctors I need and medications I need to do better myself dealing with my condition. Compulsive behavior is repetitive movements, self-harm, and amnesia. I find that this is something that symptoms I've had before in the past, or I can't move, like I'm in a comatose state where I become delusional, thinking that something bad's going to happen when in reality nothing bad's going to happen. What's bad that's happening is that I'm having the delusion that something is, and I have to I pull myself out of that through techniques that I've used in the past that help, and other people who will help with their positivity. Amnesia is mostly through some sexual abuse I experienced in my life. Repetitive movement helps comfort. It's something that I do without realizing it. It comes with the territory. But it's not bad. It's just something that I've been working on. And this is something that's developed when I turned 28 years old. I didn't have this before. I didn't have delusions, and I didn't see things or hear voices. Psychologically, it causes hallucinations and depression. Mine is mostly depression. My hallucinations are not literally there in front of me, like some people might commonly misunderstand. It's more in my head. Delusions that I see are more in my head, and they're supposed to, I thought, at first, and it was just something that happened randomly to people. But you can tell the difference. There's something up. I need to get it checked out when you start feeling like you're having hallucinations. And you'll be able to tell the difference. You'll tell something's different. It causes me a lot of anxiety, personally. I already have a disposition towards it, so all it's done is just put me on medication that helps with calming my mood and anxiety disorder. They said I had an eating disorder at one point, but that's been taken off. I've been doing really well with my nutrition and my exercise, so I am not, but I might have a bit of ADHD, so we're not sure. I plan on getting tested and seeing my therapist may help with my focusing, which I have tomorrow scheduled, which I scheduled them back to back to back, so I know the dates and so I know the times and the dates ahead of time, basically. Yes, it has stopped me from keeping a regular job. Mostly my focus. And I realized I needed to take a break. So I did, and I'm getting help. Schizophrenia, more information, is a complex brain disorder that affects approximately 2.4 million people that are affected by schizophrenia worldwide. So that's 2.4 million people worldwide. And that may seem a lot, but It actually is a lot. A surprising amount of numbers. Even I was surprised by this. So it made me feel a little bit better to know that I'm not the only one going through this. Clearly, there's information out there in research. I hope that's being done to help those with this complex brain disorder. It's basically what I read from patient Bioringer Ingelheim.com, which tells me that these effects are equal on men and women. So it's not like how some it could be for ADHD patients, like how it may affect women differently than men, how it does. And this is saying that the effects of men and women are equal, so it doesn't depend on your gender. Once again, I'll reiterate that nobody knows what causes it or why it affects some people and not others, especially different times in life. It's nobody's fault. There is nothing that you did to cause schizophrenia. Lifelong illness that impacts not only the person living with the condition, but also the lives of family members. So this affects people in the family, your family, yourself. And there is medication that helps, and it really helps me get through mine. Sometimes a few skirt by, but it doesn't affect my life. As long as I stay busy too, it helps. Staying distracted and busy helps a lot for me. Usually starts between early adult and your mid-30s. Makes sense that it started for me 28. Mine isn't very severe, like I said before, but I still have a form of it. Some experience many symptoms, while others experience just a few or less severe symptoms, like I was saying before. And this is from the article that I stated earlier from patient BoomRidgerIngledheimer.com. This is all information you can find online, But I wanted to put awareness to something that is actually severe and does affect people's lives. Medication is key in their recovery plan with supportive treatments, with psychotherapy and goal setting. I have noted that goal setting helps come to concentration and being able to schedule ahead of time, which is something I was able to do before, but I found that it's changed a lot for me. I'm not sure why it caused these effects, to be honest. Medication has helped tremendously, at least with some of the issues that it causes, the symptoms it causes me. Medication is key in their recovery plan with supportive treatments like psychotherapy and goal setting. Psychotherapy is, I highly recommend it, so they can understand your story and have a case study of your experiences and symptoms, so they can have this data. Some keys to just stay positive. Sometimes you get negative voices. Just try your best to stay positive and have the good people in your life that let you know that you're good. That those negative voices, they don't determine who you are. They might make you check yourself every once in a while, but they're not there to hurt or harm anyone. They're just something you gotta pull yourself out of, and be able to regulate your emotions is really important. And there are coping strategies for this, and medication. Like I said, goal setting is perfect. I found that has done me a world of good. And being active. So you have a boyfriend, he knows my condition, so that I have schizophrenia, that I live with it. And he wanted to say that he loves deeply. It does cause a slight strain in the relationship, but you two supportive, you try to do your best, have someone there that's like that, and yourself included, you'll be great, you'll be good. Just stay up to date with everything that's going on and let people know what's happening, because it can cause suicide, which I didn't get to yet because I wanted to stay on a more positive note. A lot of feelings you might feel is you might have hope, especially when medication starts working, belief, and you might find yourself inspired to talk about it. Like, to give yourself credit for dealing with something that's not easy to deal with, to live with. And your family too, and friends. So make sure you give yourself credit, because you're doing great, especially if you've gotten this far. I got this sourced from Hope for Schizophrenia. That was the source I used for this. The article Living with Schizophrenia. July 2024. It had been recently updated. Just so you know, these sites get updated, and it's basic knowledge. Online resources are available to download, like worksheets for choosing your goals, then setting those goals and going on to explain. You just want something really impactful and important in your life, or it can be a small or large goal. Mine was getting a job finally that I felt suited the needs that I have, and helped me stay busy, very busy. Then setting those goals, going to explain to your short support network and hear stories about others who are going through the same thing. If you're interested in helping with treatments through donations or spreading awareness, if you want to pick a cause that you haven't thought of before that could use the funding to better understand and find more treatments, further treatment studies that should be available. 3 types of symptoms, no signs of schizophrenia. Through medication and a treatment plan, a person living with schizophrenia may be able to manage some of the symptoms, such as their hallucinations and delusions, and feel stable, which is me. At the time, I feel incredibly stable. I've been doing what I'm supposed to be doing, following the treatment and everything. It doesn't always work that way. Sometimes I have my downs, but I pick myself back up, especially with that support system. Right. Some people still affected by symptoms are called cognitive symptoms, difficulty following instructions or conversations. So true. There are times where I found myself so disoriented that I couldn't follow along, which is new to me, but I didn't recognize it at the time. Sometimes it's not something you recognize. Like, it's there, but you didn't quite expect it to be as bad as it was. Some negative symptoms, like low motivation and emotions. Note that that's not it really depends on your life experiences. Mine took a small shortcut due to some of the issues that had occurred with me, but I still feel passionate about this to talk about with other people and put my story out there for others to hear. I have low motivation, but women sometimes it can be hard to stay motivated. So I'm still motivated, so it doesn't make any sense. Sometimes it's like, oh, and that's where my therapist is gonna come into play. She's gonna help me with that, I hope. No, not always this is extreme. 1 in 300 people impacted by schizophrenia are across the globe. So, 1 in 300. Actually, that's a higher statistic than I had anticipated. At least it's treatment, resources for people who are going through this. Living with someone with schizophrenia is not someone with, does not mean that this person has multiple personalities. That is a myth. Not true at all. There are different kinds of personalities out there. People can be who they want to be, but claiming someone with schizophrenia has multiple personalities when there's no proof of that, and it just says in the article that that's not the case. So those of you who might think that is, just like the other bias about being violent, I'm non-violent. I'm very peaceful, actually. I love helping people. And I can say that I am definitely my own character, but not person multiple. Research shows that most people with schizophrenia are not violent. More often to be victims of violence by perpetrators, which is something I found to be true in my case. I don't want to talk about it, but because it's very personal. And maybe I'll get to a video where I do describe it if some of you are wondering what it was that I had went through to cause my schizophrenia to flare, what I believe at least it is. Depending on what, the research you've done on the subject. It really hit me when it said more often to be victims of violence by perpetrators. That's how much stigma there is. I just want to debunk some of those so people know that they're safe. From that, at least. It's not like that. And there's treatment, medication. A person with this illness should not be called a schizophrenic, as the trauma can be stigmatizing and dehumanizing. If a person is not diagnosed. So if the person's not diagnosed with it, don't just go and say that they're schizophrenic. And even if they are, it's still, you won't be respectful. Mostly because of the stigmatization and, the dehumanization of people diagnosed with it. Which is true. It took my boyfriend a second for him to be okay with when he found out that I had schizophrenia. It took him a second. He did not. He coped well, but he had to think about some stuff. But he did. He stuck through it and he stayed. He stayed true. No, it was difficult. It was hard. But we're doing a lot better. I'm doing a lot better. I'm no longer a zombie state, which sometimes I find myself in. It's just how it is. A person with positive symptoms, they may hear voices, hallucinations, see things that aren't there, delusions, believe things that aren't true. I used to think that my visions that I saw were, they're clearly delusions, psychic gifts. But then I realized, even if it's at some level they help, it's still schizophrenia at the end of the day. And medication and talking to someone helps. Talking to medical, therapists or psychologist or med manager, social worker, coordinator, staff members, things like that. That'll help find resources to get better. And there are actually resources. Delusions, believing things that aren't there, makes it hard to work, study, or live alone. That's why it's so important to understand the many symptoms of schizophrenia. Actually, that's true. I have a mild form of it, but there's some people who have extreme, and that is absolutely true. Or live alone, due to the distractions. I don't have all the data, but that's what I'm reading about what I have so far. Trouble paying attention and remembering things is actually an issue with people with schizophrenia. It's true, they do have trouble paying attention and remembering things. I don't know if it's the same degree as I do, because I don't want to, I'm not a medical practitioner, I'm not a doctor, but I am getting this from websites, and I have been diagnosed with schizophrenia, so something is, I believe it has some effect on mine. I've been noticing it since it popped up a year ago for me. Trouble processing speed, problem solving, and organizing thoughts. Trouble handling social structures. I don't have trouble handling with social structures. Actually, I'm fairly good in them and somewhat comfortable, even. Organizing thoughts is a problem. I can problem solve, but I've noted with my new job that I need to practice more. But once I get it down, I've got it. Like, I know the terminologies, so I'm not having trouble there. So I don't feel like that's really the symptom that I have. I don't mind talking to people. I'm not antisocial. And that doesn't mean others are either. Some of these cognitive symptoms may make it hard to do daily tasks. So yeah, that's where I am so far in my research. And it's true, it does take a toll on daily tasks. Like right now, I'm trying to make this video to spread awareness and knowledge about the illness I have, so others can understand that it's not exactly all that you may think it is, but it's something. Just spreading awareness of something that isn't usually talked about and open. Sharing information. Thank you for listening. I hope you guys have a great day or night. And feel free to message me and talk. We can talk. Like I said, I don't mind talking to people about some of the stuff. I reached out to a good friend of mine recently, and she seems to be doing really great. She just went through something herself, and it was postpartum depression, but she's gone through it. She's had an incredible support system. It's really helped. So here's to everything getting a lot better. Because there's a lot of hope. And it's not dying inside. You have to start with a moment. Even if you have to guess what those might be, at least it's something to think about. The responsible thing. Thank you for listening again. Signing off. Bye. I hope this has helped. I hope this helped. I'm going to set up a donation for this on my Facebook profile for those of you interested in donating to research for schizophrenia, the illness that 1 in 300 people worldwide have. Thank you.